Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Al-mu'tal, or the weak verbs. As we have started our journey like 2 weeks ago about the weak verbs, and inshallah, now we have reached to the Allam al-Kalima, which is called Mu'tal al-Lam, and it is given the name as Naqis. So first of all, just a quick review that the verbs that have waw or ya as one of the root letters, we call them Mu'tal. And the process of making changes is called ta'lil. So the verb that has a weak letter is called mu'tal, and the process that we do, like we change sometimes like waw with alif, and sometimes we drop one of the weak root letters. So that process is called ta'lil. And that's what we have been talking about. So we started with, as we know that the basic three root letters are fa, ain, lam, fa'ala. And the first one is called mu'tallul fa, which is mithal. And in mithal, we have mithal wawi and mithal ya'i. In mithal wawi, we have discussed the verbs like wajada, yajidu, wa'ada, ya'idu. And we know that most of the verbs, they come on the pattern of daraba, yadribu. And mithal ya'i, we haven't discussed yet. Then we have mu'tallul ain, which is called ajwaf. And so mithal is like the verbs that have waw or ya as the first root letter. They have waw or ya as the first root letter. Then we have ajwaf. In ajwaf, waw or ya will be the second root letter. That's why we call them ajwaf, as they are empty from the middle. So ajwaf wawi, we have discussed qala yaqulu, which is basically qawala yaqulu, and after the changes it has become qala yaqulu. And then we have also discussed ajwaf ya'i, which is ba'a yabi'u, which is basically baja'a yabji'u, and after the changes it has become ba'a yabi'u. So mithal and ajwaf are clear now, alhamdulillah. And now we move on to the last one, which is mu'tallul lam, which is called naqis. And in naqis, as we know that all of them have wawi and ya'i, because we have only two weak, letters, and these two weak letters will be either waw or ya. So if waw comes in one of the, as one of the root letters, we call that wawi, and when ya comes as one of the root letters, we call it ya'i. Okay, now here naqis wawi, we have da'a yad'u, and then we have naqis ya'i hada yahdi. Of course, here we have only these examples just as a specimen, and inshallah we will discuss in detail. Okay, now inshallah today we are going to start with naqis wawi. Okay, in naqis wawi, most of the verbs come on the pattern of nasara yansuru. So it's similar to ajwaf wawi. In ajwaf wawi, we know that most of the verbs come on the pattern of nasara yansuru, and in naqis wawi also most of the verbs, they come on the pattern of nasara yansuru, as we can see here, da'a yad'u. However, the changes in ajwaf and naqis will be different, and that's what we are going to discuss today. This change or this rule you already know, and we have discussed it regarding ajwaf, both ajwaf wawi and ya'i, that when waw is mutaharrik and there is a fatha before it, then it changes into alif. So this rule is not new to you. You already know about it, and we have discussed it and implemented it many times. When waw is mutaharrik and there is a fatha before it, then it changes into alif. For example, qawala, and that example, qawala has changed into qala. Okay, now naqis wawi, and it is also called defective verb. And the reason why the names have been given, there is no specific reason behind that. They have been named like that by the grammarians. It's not like if a verb is naqis, there is something wrong with it. there is nothing wrong with the verbs. They have been given these names just to know, just to familiarize ourselves and just to recognize that which one is mithal, which one is ajwaf, and which one is naqis. But we will not say that it's naqis because there is something missing or there is something lacking. No, that's not the reason. It's only the name that has been given to it. Okay, now in naqis wawi, the most common bab is nasara yansuru. So as we always do, like we have the root letters of Nasara, Noon, Saad, and Ra. All of them are Salim, all of them are healthy. They do not have any of the weak root letters. So we call that this verb is Salim. However, when we look at the root letters, here we have the Ain and then Waw. So here we have the weak letter, and that's why we call them mu'tal, that they have one of the root letters as to be the weak ones, and this is here we have the awa. Okay, so basically here we have nasara and here we have the awa. Why do we call them naqis? Because they have waw or ya as the third root letter. Waw or ya as the third root letter. That's why we call them naqis. And then naqis wawi when it has waw as the third root letter. So nasara and da'awa, they are equal. Noon has fatha, dal has fatha, sad has fatha, and ain has fatha, ra has fatha, and wa has fatha. However, we know that when we deal with the weak verbs, then we have to do ta'leel, we have to make changes. Now the change has taken place over here. Now you will tell me which change has taken place over here. I hope you can hear me.
Before wow, there was a fatha,
Yes.
so it was changed into alif instead.
Yeah, so
Wow
this is
is
the same.
mutaharrik.
This is the same
Wow
rule.
is mutaharrik.
Excellent. Waw is mutaharrik, and before waw there is fatha, so it changes into alif. So this is not a new rule, you already know it. Okay, so that means there is nothing new that has been introduced so far. The only thing that is new is here that the third root letter will be weak. The third root letter will be weak. That is the only new thing. However, when we talk about the rules of ta'leel, then that means that no change has taken place. Ta'leel is the same as we have learned before, that when waw is mutaharrik and there is fatha before it, then it changes into alif. So da'awa changes into da'a. So that is your change number one. As we always do, first we look at the bab, which is nasara. So let's look at the verbs of nasara. We have learned it and we have discussed it many times. Nasara, nasara, nasaru. We know that. Now here, the first change will take place over here. And first what I have done here is, first I have written the, like the verbs as they are supposed to be, and then we will make changes. So first as they are supposed to be, and then we will make changes. For example, nasara, and here it is da'awa, as we know that noon has fatha, dal has fatha, sad has fatha, ain has fatha, ra has fatha, and waw has fatha. However, we have to make the change here, and the change, as we have discussed earlier, that when waw is mutharrik and there is fatha before it, it changes into alif. So we will change into alif. So that is our first change, the a. Number one, please note down the changes and write them down. So the first one has been changed. Number two, no change will take place. It will remain as it is. So the da'awa, it's the same as nasara. And then the third one, here we have nasaru, and here we have da'awu. Okay, now here there is the second change that will take place. Okay, first of all, I would explain the rule to you, and then we will discuss and we will implement the rule. When two weak letters come together, here we have waw and waw, so we have two weak letters and they have come together, right? Two of them, they have come together. So when two weak letters come together, i.e. the one which is the part of the construction and the one which is the part of the root letter. Okay, now we have to see which one is the part of the construction and which one is the part of the root letter. As we can see here, nasaru, wow, this is a part of the construction, right? This is a standard, we cannot change it. It comes with every verb, right? For example, daraba, daraba, darabu, samia, samia, samiu. So this wow is the part of the construction. Okay, so and the one which is the part of the root letter, the one which is the root letter will be dropped. So if we have two weak letters and the one that is the part of the construction will not be dropped, the one that is the part of the root letter that will be dropped. So here, which one is the part of the root letter?
The one with the waw dhamma.
Yes, the one with the dhamma. So we will drop it and that's it. It becomes the aw. And that is the second change that has taken place. That's it. So two changes have already taken place. The first one, as we have seen here, which is like the regular change, which we have been discussing for a long time. And here, the second change has already taken place. What we have seen here that there were two weak letters, they were together, and the one that was the part of the root letter that has been dropped. And that's what we discussed yesterday. And the sister figured out that the ulama and the grammarians, they say that we can drop either of them. Yes, that's possible, we can drop either of them, but in some cases it's not possible to drop either of them. In certain cases, we have to drop the one that is the part of the root letter, as we can see here. Because this is the part of the construction, we cannot drop it. Any root letter, whether it is weak or it is not weak, when it becomes the part of the construction, then we cannot delete it or we cannot remove it. Two changes have taken place. Okay, now nasara, nasara, nasaru, da'a, da'awa, da'u. So what I'm going to do now, I want to remove this one because we don't need it anymore, as it shouldn't cause any confusion to us. Then we move on to the fourth one, which is nasarat. Fourth one is what? Nasarat. And then we have nasarata, nasarna. Okay, then here it is da'awat. What is this? Nasarat and da'awat. They are the same, they are equal. But the problem is here we have the weak root letter, and then we have to implement some changes here. What is the first change? As we have implemented here, it will be implemented over here. Okay.
Wow is mutarik, the before letter is fatha, then it changes into alif.
Excellent. Okay. Now it has become the at. Okay. Now there is another problem. And that problem is we have iltiqa sakinain, alif is sakin and ta is sakin. When we have iltiqa sakinain, then we have to drop one of the root letters, or one of the letters, I should say. And the one that will be dropped is the weak one. So the weak one has to be dropped and it becomes the at. It has become the at, and this is the third change that has taken place. And I believe this is the third and the final change that has taken place. So we have seen here that change number one has taken place over here, number two here, and number three here, the at. Okay, is this clear, or do you want me to do it one more time? So the same thing here. Okay, excellent. So it was da'awat, and when we see that waw has mutaharrik, there is fatha before it, we change it into alif. Then we have iltiqa sakinain, we drop it and it becomes da'at, and that's it. Now we are ready to take off. We have cleared our runway and now we are ready to take off. So if it is da'at, it will be da'ata, as we have here, nasarata, so it will be da'ata, and from here, it continues as it is supposed to be, da'ata, and then we have nasarna and da'una, they are equal. As you can see here, they are equal, so there is no need to make any change. So what we are going to do, we are going to remove nasara, and as you can see here now, da'at, da'ata, da'una, and then da'uta, da'utuma, da'utum, da'uti, da'utuma, da'utunna, da'utu, and da'una. So after the fourth form of the verb, we are already on the highway, and that's the only thing we need to take is to take a flight. And I know, mashallah, you are good at memorizing now. You have memorized so many verbs, so it shouldn't be a problem for you. And then here it has become da'ata, and then da'una, and da'uta, da'utuma, da'utum, da'uti, da'utuma, da'utunna, da'utu, and da'una. Okay, if I give you a verb, do you think you would be able to practice it or do it? Tala, tala means to recite or means to follow. Tala, talawa,
Talau.
talau, talau, okay.
Talat.
Talat,
Talat.
talata, talata,
Talauna.
talauna,
Talauta.
talauna,
Talauta.
talauta,
Talautuma.
talautuma,
Talautuma.
talautum,
Talauti.
Talauti.
talautuma, talautuna, talautu,
Talauna.
talautu al-Qur'ana sabahan. I recited the Quran in the morning. So it will be the sound of aw. If you remember, like the lean letters, so all of them, they will have that sound that when we have fatha before wow, then it is recited like aw, talaw, da'aw.
With softness.
Yeah, with the softness. So that is what we are going to practice over here. Okay, so the past is clear.
Alhamdulillah.
Any changes, anything that you would like to ask or anything that is not clear, please let me know. If this is clear, as we said, or we discussed earlier, that in naqis wawi, most of the verbs, they come on the pattern of nasara, and very few come on the pattern of samia. However, we are not going to discuss samia because samia will be the same as naqis ya'i. So we will discuss that with naqis ya'i. So as of now, we need to know that there is only one pattern or one bab which comes on the pattern of naqis wawi, which is nasara yansuru, and da'a, tala, and then there are many verbs that come on that pattern. Okay, so our present is clear, past is clear, and now we move on to the present. Al-mudari, and it should be naqis and not ajwif. Okay, so because we have discussed ajwaf for a long time, so that's why I forgot to change it. So it's naqis wawi, defective verb, al-mudari, naqis wawi. And first we look at the root letters. These are not sara. And of course, when we talk about the mudari, then it becomes yansuru. And we know that ya is alamat al-mudari, which has to be added when we make the present tense. Similarly, we have da'awa, which is da'a. And on the pattern of yansuru, we have yad'uhu. We have yansuru and we have yad'uhu. Okay, now, so this is the very common, this is a very, small change that takes place over there, and you need to note it down. And this is the first change that takes place in mudari. In the changes that have taken place in the past, we have discussed 3 changes took place over there. And now we will see how many changes take place in mudari. Okay, the first change that takes place over here is when waw has dhamma, and there is a dhamma before it, then it becomes sakin. Why it becomes sakin? Because waw,
Difficult to pronounce.
it's difficult to pronounce. Waw normally doesn't carry dhamma. It carries dhamma before it. As we know that dhamma is the sister of waw. So it's, if in certain cases, if it is inevitable, for example, wajhun and the plural is wujuhun. Wujuhun, we have to put dhamma on waw because that is the part of the construction. But we know that these weak letters are very delicate. And if they find any room to make themselves flexible, they do that. So that's what happens over here. So we have yad'uhu, basically on the pattern of yansuru, yad'uhu. And waw has dhamma and there is a dhamma before it. So waw becomes sakin. Now the rule, I have already written it here. I will send it to you. Please try to go through it and try to memorize it, write it down. When waw has dhamma and there is a dhamma before it, then it becomes sakin. And that rule has been implemented over here. So that is the first change that has taken place over here. From yad'uhu, it has become yad'u. So we will implement it here. So first we look at the regular verb form, which is yansuru, yansuru, yansurani, yansuruna. And here we have yad'u. So we have to implement the change. Please tell me the change. What change we have? Do we have to implement in here?
Means yad'u waw becomes sakin.
And why does it become sakin?
The before letter is dhamma, so the weak waw becomes sakin.
Sakin because it's because of thiql. They use the word thiql or thaqil because heavy. We have learned the word thaqil, that something is heavier. So when it is heavier for the weak letters, they simply don't accept it. They say we don't accept it. Just remove it from me. I don't want to accept anything that becomes heavier for me. However, waw is comfortable with dhamma when it comes before it, and we know that waw is the sister of dhamma. So this is the first change that has taken place over here. All right. And in the second one, in the muthanna or the dual, no change takes place. As we can see here, yansurani, yad'uwani, they are equal. So there is no need to change it. No change will take place over here. Here we have yansuruna, and here we have yad'uwuna. Now, I hope you can tell me what we are supposed to do.
Remove the root letter, that wow, dhamma, Ustad.
Waw dhamma, Ustad.
Okay, why we have to remove waw with dhamma?
Because that is more apt
Because
to
it becomes-
remove
it becomes-
rather than the
it-
construction, because una.
Yeah, when we have two weak root letters, when you have two of them, yeah, and then one that is the part of the root letters that has to be dropped. So we drop this one, wow, and
As
it
for the
becomes,
masculine plural, wow and noon are the part of the construction, right?
that's right,
So wow, what is that? Sukun with noon is a part of the construction.
construction, yeah. So what we have to do now, we have to drop the wow that is a part of the root letters, then it becomes yad'una. So this is the second change that has taken place over here. Okay, so what we are going to do, we don't need this anymore. So it has become yad'una, yad'u, yad'uani, yad'una. Then we have tansuru, tansurani, yansurna, right? Tansuru, tansurani, yansurna. If you remember the present tense conjugation, it will be always like this, okay? Now we know that if we have implemented the change on the first one, then it will be implemented on all the verbs that have dhamma. You know that, right?
Yes,
So it will be implemented to all of them. So first, let's implement it. So it becomes tadiru, and this one also becomes tadiru, and this one becomes adaru, and adaru and nadaru. So here there was like dhamma. So let me put it first so that we know. And then we remove dhamma and then we put sakin. So it becomes adaru and nadaru, adaru and nadaru. Okay, so these changes have been implemented. So if we implement it on one, then it will be implemented on five, because we know that five that have dhamma on that, five of them will have the same changes in the rules. So we will implement the same changes to all of them, to five of them. Okay, now.
And also, there's also a verse in the Quran. It says, "Inna kunna nad'uhu, innahu huwal barrur rahim."
Yes, we used to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nad'uhu.
So it means nad'uhu, but actually because of the heaviness, it is being removed. Ustad.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that was exactly. Yeah, as you said, you have seen here, if it has been removed from one, from yad'u, then it will be removed from all of them that have dhamma in the end. So it has become yad'u, tad'u, tad'u, ad'u, and nad'u. Okay, then we have tansuru, tansurani, and surna. So it has become tad'u. The dual doesn't change, and also the feminine plural doesn't change as well. So that's the only change that has taken place over here. So we are going to remove this because we don't need it anymore. Now, this is the most beautiful and the most interesting thing that has happened in Arabic language, which never happens. You have seen that it's very calculated and very meticulous, and it's very, very rare that two sighas or sighan will be the same or they will collide. But here they have collided. So here, both of them, as you can see here, yad'u, yad'uani, yad'una. Let's do it with the pronouns so we will learn it better. Huwa yad'u, huma yad'uani, hum yad'una. Hiya tad'u, huma tad'uani, hunna yad'una. So hunna yad'una is the same. So how will we know? We will know from the context. For example, ar-rijalu yad'una, wan-nisa'u yad'una. So only from the context we will come to know about it. However, when it is used in the Quran, it will be yad'una always for the masculine, because we know that when we use the sigha of masculine, it already includes feminine. We have discussed it many times that the gender, just when we talk about linguistically or about the language, the male gender dominates, just because when we talk about the language, as we have discussed earlier, for example, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina, alladhina doesn't necessarily mean that only men, it includes all humankind, it includes men and women, both of them together. However, this is the usloob of the Arabic language. If there are 99 women and there is one man, it will be still considered as men. So the sigha that will be used for the men. And again, that is because of the beauty of the language. It's not because of any other specific reason. So tad'u, tad'uani, yad'una. And then similarly, after that, if we have implemented the change to yad'una, then it will be also implemented to tad'una as well. And the change is very simple. When we have two weak letters together, the one that is a part of the construction will be dropped. So it has become tad'una. So this one is also extra. We are going to drop it. So it has become tad'una, tad'u, tad'uani, tad'una. And then here we have tansurina, tansurani, tansurna. Tansurina, tansurani, tansurna. Here we have, on the pattern of tansurina, we have tad'uina. Tad'uina. Okay, now have you noticed something here? Again, something similar has happened. We have ya, which is the root letter, which is a weak letter, and waw is also a weak letter. Now you can see here that ya is the part of the construction, isn't it?
Yes,
Tansurina, ya is the part of the construction. So what we have to do, we have to drop waw. So we drop waw. And now there is one more change that we have to do. We know that ya is compatible with kasra. Ya is not compatible with fatha. So what we will do, we will remove dhamma and we will put kasra. So it becomes tad'ina. Anti tad'ina. So it was here tansurina, and here it has become tad'ina, and that is the final change that has taken place in Mudari. So basically in Mudari there are, okay, do you want to see that again, or that is enough? Yeah, this is tad'uina, same as tansurina. So ya is weak and waw is weak. And when we have two weak letters together, then we have to drop the one that is the part of the root letter, not that the one that is the part of the construction. As we can see here that ya is the part of the construction, so we don't remove it, we only remove the one that is the part of the root letters, so we drop waw. When we drop waw, now what happens here, dhamma is already there, but we know that dhamma is compatible with waw. Dhamma is not compatible with ya. We already have ya over there. So whenever we have to make a change, bigger changes, we don't change huruf, we change harakat. Please remember this, because huruf are heavier than the harakat. So what happens? We have to change the haraka and we remove dhamma and we bring in the haraka that is according to the kasra. Sorry, according to the ya. Which one is compatible with ya?
The kasra.
Kasra. So it becomes tad'ina. Tad'ina and tad'uani and tad'una. So that one remains as it is. No change will take place over there. Tad'ina, tad'uani, tad'una. And then here the same change as we have discussed already over here, because when waw has dhamma and there is dhamma before it, then the waw becomes sakin. So ansuru, nansuru, and it becomes ad'u and nad'u.
So almost everything has changed except the dual Ustad here.
Yeah, the dual wouldn't change. Yeah, the dual, they haven't changed. That's number one. All the 4 forms of dual haven't changed. That's number one. And number two, for the feminine plural, they haven't changed as well. For the feminine plural, they haven't changed as well.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, no change has taken place. They remain as they are. No change has
Yes.
taken place. Yes.
We had one Waw Dhamma, right, here?
Yeah, it's as it is. Yani, we have not changed it.
Okay.
We have only changed for the masculine plural, but for the feminine plural, no change has taken place because they are on the same pattern as yansurna, yad'una. There is no change. There is no need to make any change because they are equal. Okay, I think I can type it for you so that it's easier for you to relate or easier for you to see or to figure out like what we are talking about. So here we have yad'una, and we have to look at the wazn is yansurna, yeah? So it will be yansurna. So it will be equal. So that's why there is no need to make any change.
Okay.
Yansurna and yad'una, they are equal. So once they are the same, then there is no need to make any change. Ya has fatha, noon is sakin, and dal is sakin. And then we have sad has dhamma, and ain has dhamma, ra is sakin, and here waw is sakin, and noon has fatha. And
plurals and the second person plurals.
yeah, so no change has taken place over here. So basically, as we know that if the first one changes, then that means it's not only the first one, that means 5 of them will change. You know that, right?
Yes.
And when one changes, then 5 of them will change. That's number one. And number two, the dual doesn't change. The dual remains as it is. No change will take place for the dual. However, the change for the plural will change. For the plural, masculine plural, and for third person and for the second person, it will change.
It will follow the feminine. It will be
Yeah, it will follow. Yeah, so they are the same as masculine and the feminine. They are the same.
Same. And the last one is this tad'ina.
Yeah, tad'ina. There is another change that has taken place, which is tad'ina, which was tad'una. From tad'una, it has become tad'ina. Okay, so we used we practiced the verb tala. So from tala, we have yatlu. Tala, yatlu. So we practice the same on this pattern. So it will be yatlu, it will be yad'u, it will be yatlu. Yatluwani. Yatluna, excellent.
Tatlu.
Tatluwani. Yatluna, excellent, perfect. Yes. Tatluwani. Yes. Tatluna, okay. Yeah, no change will take place. Yeah, okay. Tatlina. Yes. Tatluwani. Tatluna. Atlu. And Natlu. Perfect. That's it. So basically, you have seen that once you go through the process seems to be a little bit, it's not, to be honest, I have written everything clearly. I have explained everything clearly. So I do believe that there shouldn't be any problem or anything that should disturb you or that should prevent you, except for not being able to practice it. Yes, I'm telling you, if you don't practice it, believe me, after one day it will disappear from your brain, and then you will always be suffering like why it happened, how it happened, and you don't want to put yourself in an embarrassing situation every day. So to avoid that situation, what you could do, you can just practice the verbs. I will give you 4 or 5 verbs, or we have them in the lesson over there, which is lesson number 28. From there, you can take from there, or I can give you as a homework. You can write them down and you can share them in the group. Now, it's not something that is small or something that is not important. We have done an amazing job today, alhamdulillah. We have cleared the past and of naqis, and we have also cleared the present of naqis bawi, which is itself a big job, alhamdulillah. Because there are like, I don't want to scare you, but if you open the books of sarf, you will find so many rules, and those rules can be so confusing that they have written around, I think, 10 to 12 rules about naqis, wawi, and ya'i. So I don't want you to get too much into the rules. I want you to do it practically, because that is ultimately what is going to help us, and that is ultimately going to be implemented in the weak verbs. So these are the rules that I have written over here, only 3 rules. The first one you already know. The second one is the one that is most commonly used, and the third one is also very light and very easy as well. All right, so any questions? Alhamdulillah. I know, like, we can do, we have enough time and we can do many things, but I believe it's better to stop here. I would like you to practice today. So inshallah, when you come back tomorrow, we will already move to naqis ya'i. So our naqis wawi is clear. And naqis ya'i is basically longer because it has like 4 patterns or 4 abwab. Which is daraba, fatha, samia. So we will practice more, inshallah, about naqis ya'i. Any questions regarding naqis wawi? Everything is clear?
Alhamdulillah, practicing.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So I will send you the verbs, and inshallah, it's up to you to practice. If you want to share, you can share. If you want to ask, you can ask. And that's it. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
جزاك الله خيرا.
وإياكم.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.